So the roads are flat. There's a good bit of gravel. You don't pass anything like sketchy to get here, but it's definitely more of like a country feel, and not like the nicest area with tons of nice cabins. But so it's not doing you any favors, but it's also not like sketchy, scary stuff. So it's fine. It passes my threshold of comfort. But you know, it's not a neighborhood full of beautiful new builds like this one or anything like that. But you got a nice garage over there. The other thing, you have some really nice views here, but it's not as private. It's definitely got good spacing as far as separation from anyone nearby. So that's cool. I need to double check on like the lot lines and situation up here. I can't remember from the listing if this is part of the property. It's a shared driveway here. So I'm gonna take this video and comment on this upper area, and I apologize for not having this fresh on my mind as I'm recording, but I just want to kind of comment on this upper area in case this is part of the property. It appears to be, based on the tree line and the fence line and the driveway being shared. If that's the case, that's awesome. If that's not the case, then you probably want to create some privacy and separation. And in either case, maybe you would want to create some separation and continue to have this as a pad for rentals or something. But it gets quite flat up here and towards the back here. And even the rest of this, there's definitely a slope, but it's land that would be manageable to create some awesome amenity spaces out here. So again, I'm sorry, I feel like that's a pretty important detail that we can obviously double check after you watch. By the time you see the video, I'll probably have attached the survey or plat to go along with this video. So you may have to disregard some of this, but again, assuming this is part of the property, this is great. There are some little views that direction as well. Not as meaningful or as important as these views. These views are awesome. You do have good privacy from these trees back here. So again, it's not like a heavily wooded, super private experience, but there's definitely enough distance and separation and privacy to create a cool STR experience here. And lots of cleared space and flat spaces to work with too. So and this part of Morganton in general is a little more like country farmland feel, but it's very pretty. It's not as dense, and it's nice. You're close to Lake Blue Ridge here, and you do get some of these cool mountain views, even though the elevation's not super high, because you have these big open valleys. So like you can see, there's a trailer out in the distance over there that's kind of junky, but it's pretty far away. And then this house isn't the most cleaned up and beautiful. I didn't notice that trailer coming in. I'm just seeing it now from this angle. Again, none of it is overly concerning as far as the neighbors in the area or the road or anything like that. But it's also not like my favorite neighborhood, as far as, you know, ideally you'd have some other beautiful cabins, you know, stacked around the area, but that might also, you know, be part of the reason why this is priced the way it is and sitting on the market. So I think it's a worthy trade-off in my opinion, but important to have that clarity around the community in the neighborhood. Cool little cubby space that could be used as a game room potentially. A couple arcades or owner's closet. Technically not a closet in here, so that would technically not be a bedroom according to like technical real estate nerds. For most buyers and for most listing agents and for STR Airbnb purposes, this is absolutely useful as a bedroom. But just that's a question that comes up a lot is, well, how much does that matter? And it doesn't really matter. Obviously, an appraiser should technically not count that as a bedroom, but it shouldn't really influence the appraised value because most appraisers are going to see that. And in some cases, I've seen them call that a bedroom still, even though it doesn't have a closet. So it's just something technical that comes up sometimes in situations like that. It doesn't bother me, but I like to point it out when I see it. A little bit of cracking here. Might be something for the inspector to look at. It's a little bit more than a hairline crack, and significant enough that. And then this is, this plywood's in the way, so it's hard to see where all it goes. So that's something to keep an eye on and maybe flag to the inspector ahead of the inspection, see if he thinks that's meaningful enough to have a structural engineer look at. I'm not like an expert on this stuff, but that one looks, you see a lot of, it's not uncommon to see some cracking in a basement on a foundation wall. This looks borderline like something that would maybe have me a little concerned. So again, I'm not a structural engineer. It could be a simple sort of seal solution, but that would be something to pay attention to. Otherwise, the construction looks pretty good. It's nice that they put appliances down here too. So there's that trailer that I pointed out. This would be just leaving the driveway and on the way out. So that is kind of rough. It looks like an abandoned trailer. I don't love that. And it's funny now that I'm driving by it again, like I definitely notice it. I didn't really notice it on the way in because I was focused on where I was going. But yeah, I don't like that. I think it's important that you know that that's there if you're gonna buy that property. I think it's manageable as far as it doesn't kill the deal necessarily, but it's, something to consider and think about as you evaluate revenue and reviews and maybe how you structure the offer, accounting for that variable. So yeah, just want to add some additional context there.